just the facts, ma'am.
Welcome to Saving America segment 3, and this is our Just the Facts segment, and we've got a great guest today. Jonathan McElvey is president and CEO of McElvey Partners, a company that publishes news and works with small businesses to improve marketing in Houston, Dallas, Fort Bend County, and Charlotte, North Carolina. This company delivers more than 350,000 print publications each week with an additional 500,000 page views each month. It's just an incredible record. And Jonathan, I know a little bit about your background, but I wanted to start right off and talk about neighborhood newspapers against the backdrop of the collapse of the major newspapers. I remember right here in Houston, we had the morning paper and the afternoon paper. Then the afternoon paper bought the morning paper. And I think the circulation of the Houston Chronicle, the remaining newspaper, is a fraction of what it was before. Daily readership is way down. I think they still sell a reasonable number of Sunday papers. Their staffing is way down. They've actually sold their landmark building in downtown Houston. But you have made an investment in a very different but parallel industry. Tell us about the neighborhood newspapers.
Well, that's a great way of putting it, because people say, well, you're a newspaper, the Chronicle's a competitor of yours, and it's not. We're like completely different industries today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the history of the Chronicle and the Post and the joint operating agreement they had and the background there is one thing. The scope of local, well, we could talk for 5 hours about just this topic, but news has seen such a drastic change over the last decade, really starting. You go back to that, it really happened in the Great Recession. In 2007, 2006, I came to Houston to help run a larger company that had 65 newspapers in Houston and East Texas and in Denver. And we had 2007 and 2008 were banner years. I mean, so it's that quickly, it's 12, 13, 14 years ago. And as the recession hit, that devastated marketing budgets. And as marketing budgets were devastated, small companies, small businesses, advertisers, which is in the past 75% of the revenue of any news, whether it's the Chronicle or my company, it left. I mean, it just literally left. Revenues dropped by half within 5 years. And it all went to this free place, or supposedly free place, of Facebook and Google. All the investment went there. Well, as people cut their marketing, the first and easiest place, and every news company did a pretty good job of trying to be as efficient as possible. But when you do that, you cut the most important thing you have at a news organization, and that is content. And when you cut your content, you have a less valuable product. It would be just like if Apple got rid of all their developers and said, we're just going to keep putting the same iPhone out every year now. In fact, it's not going to be as good as it was last year, but we need to charge you more, and we'd like more people to buy it. It doesn't work. That's no business model. So I don't know how to better sum up what's happened. At the local level, we saw a huge drop too. I mean, and obviously the year of COVID has been very difficult as well. But the difference in what we do, I don't want to take it all to politics, because it's not all politics, but we cover things in your life that nobody else covers. If you pick up a Chronicle, and I would never beat up on the Chronicle, I actually would say Hearst newspapers through COVID and over the last 2 or 3, 4 years has done a better job than most at trying to provide a good news product. But we cover things. But well, if you pick up the Chronicle, you're going to see the same thing there that you see in USA Today and in the New York Times and on TV and whatever digital news source you have. Local news isn't like that. We cover things that nobody would ever consider covering, from apartments being built on 34th Street or in Diane Villa, all these things that impact your life. That's what we do. We don't even pretend to want to cover voter suppression issues, because that's not our forte. That's not our expertise. We live here. We're your neighbors. We know what you do. And there is huge value on knowing what's going on in your neighborhood, your local businesses, your local schools, your churches. And those things are still today vitally important. And you know what? You can't get them anywhere else. So that's our value.
Jonathan, what I thought was interesting is, as I mentioned in my previous neighborhood, I got the Leader newspaper, which is one of your banner newspapers, delivered to my front door, I think every Thursday, if I recall correctly. And I looked through it and learned about my neighborhood. One of the things that I appreciated about the neighborhood newspaper is they were generally apolitical. If they featured an article about the local county commissioner or something, it was, well, the county commissioner has blood donation day or food collection day or something. It was not, hey, this is a big time Republican or this is a big time Democrat. And do you think that may have helped the neighborhood newspapers in this current environment?
Well, no, nothing's helped us because our local businesses in the past year have, I mean, I don't mind telling you, we're in half. Our revenue's in half from last year.
Mhm.
And so that sort of thing's not helping as much. But where it's most important to me running this company, we've been able to survive, is that yes, not being political really does help. I mean, the exhaustion we feel, I wrote about it this week, the crisis we must read about every single day that we pick up the national news. It never was that way. And so I like to write every once in a while, write humor columns about life of raising 3 children. Those are the most responded to columns I ever write because people want to break. They want to break. And that is one thing that local news does. We don't cover politics because we're not experts on it and because you can get it anywhere else. Why would I go set up a hamburger stand next to McDonald's? We're going to cover the things that nobody else does. One of my tenets, and I've run newspapers for 20 years now, is that local newspapers, number one, most media, if you recognize it, is reactive. And in our company, in community journalism, we're proactive. We want to be relevant in the lives of our readers. And the way to do that, we have this saying, every newspaper has to do a great job of focusing on people, prisons, and possibilities. We cover the people in our community. The prisons are the hard news, the public safety issues, but the possibilities are the most important thing. How can we help our community become better? And that's the value of local news, is that we're literally partners. The community owns this paper. We don't own it. We just run it for them. But how can we make our community better? What are the things we can do? What are the stories we can cover, the issues we can tackle that will make the place that we live better? If we stick to that, people will respect it and continue to support it.
And Jonathan, you jumped to my third topic, so let's talk about that now. I loved your editorial on the word crisis, and I actually put that out on my social media the day after you made me aware of it. I wouldn't have seen it otherwise, but I thought it presented a lot of common sense. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what you talked about?
Well, it has to do with what we're talking about. One of the biggest shifts that's happened in news that most people, and we need to spend more time invested in learning about. We're not just consumers of news. We used to just be the consumers. Yes, we pay for cable or we pay a quarter for a newspaper. We're not just the consumers anymore. We're the actual product. We are the product that news organizations are trying to sell. So, and the reason for that, without going too deep, is that when you visit a news website, wherever you visit your news and get your news, when you visit that said website, we all have to hit that accept the cookies. And the reason for that is that once we go there, they can watch us and track us and sell that information of, hey, I went and bought some golf clubs, or I'm buying diapers. They know I've got kids under the age of 2 or 3. The things that we do allow the news organizations now to sell that hologram of us to advertisers. So as the news model has shifted, the business model of news has shifted, what happens now is they need us to their site more often. They need us, and not just that, they need us to share like you did. They need us to comment. They need us to like. The more interaction we have with news stories, the more valuable we become to news organizations. So what's the best way to get us to share, to like, to comment, is to incite emotion. And the best way to incite emotion is through fear and anger. That's every psychological study there's ever been done, is that the way to get to emotion is through fear and anger. Well, how do you create fear and anger in readers? It's through a crisis. It literally is through a crisis. And I did all this research on how many times the word crisis is appearing. The Washington Post has almost tripled the number. If you annualize the number of times they use the word crisis on their website today, is almost triple from the average of the past 15 years. That's not coincidence. It's because they need us to feel emotion. They need us to be angry and scared. They need us to come back tomorrow to see if our fears have been alleviated or if we should be more angry. And that is the business model of news. That's why it's not right. That's not what news is supposed to be. So,
Jonathan, we're running short on time, but before we go, I wanted you to tell us a little bit about you're kind of pardon the expression, a mini conglomerate, because while you do the neighborhood newspapers and you do quite a bit of that, as I mentioned, you also provide other services. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So newspapers, and the way I started, 99% of our customers are, as I call them, our clients, are small businesses. And so we've developed different divisions of our company, all based on helping small businesses reach potential customers. And so as we've grown, we bought the Green Sheet almost 3 years ago now. It was going to be shut down, but we saw a client base of small businesses that need a way to market, that can't afford the $2,500, $3,000 a month you probably should spend on SEO and web development and all that stuff. So we've taken all these clients that we have and we said, how can we help? Our motto for McKelvey Partners, which is the umbrella company now, our motto is that we help good small businesses find more customers. And we don't care how you do that. We have a digital division that helps you build websites, helps you with SEO at the most affordable price we can find, and there aren't many of those left. We do commercial printing work if you need flyers, banners, all that stuff. We work with you, we do direct mail, we do anything because we know the value of small business. And where I've taken our company is to kind of merge my experience of working with thousands of small businesses in my career with my content. I'm a journalist at heart. By trade, I'm trained to be a journalist and also to run businesses. And one of the things I'm trying to do is help better inform small businesses about the news that's out there that impacts them. You can't find that anywhere. The Wall Street Journal doesn't do it. The Financial Times doesn't focus on small business. It's kind of it's littered everywhere. And so one of my goals of the company is, if you're a small business owner, I'm not even trying to sell you anything. We offer for free through McKelvey Partners information that will help you run a small business. If you read that and you want some help, we have all kinds of divisions that can help, just like you do. But that's kind of I know we're quick, we need to be quick, but that's where our company is headed, and we're having a good time at it.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, it's evident to me with your enthusiasm that you're having a good time, and you are an asset to the community, and we appreciate your time today in our Just the Facts segment on Saving America, and I hope our viewers and listeners will join us again next time.